might have felt overlooked, to do what is right, and God's timing is always perfect because God is never in a hurry. Had a plan. In chapter 3, Haman, the Agagite, is promoted the rank. Because he's a Jew, he refused Haman. And his reason is, I am a Jew. Mordecai, why don't you bow? There are limits that I cannot go. There are things that I cannot do because of my identity, because of who I am. I have a limit and say, this I will not do because I am a Christian. Also compromise, not to go with the flow, not to go with the many. We are called to take a stand and believe on who stands. Haman becomes angry and vows not only to destroy him, but destroy all the Jewish people in the land. The king and Haman to come to have on the way from the king's gate, he sees Haman, and when he sees Haman, immediately he becomes wrathful. He goes home very unhappy. And he's to do away with this man called Mordecai. He's becoming a problem. He refuses to bow before me. He refuses to acknowledge the authority that I have. What can we do? And they advise him to build a gallows and have Haman be hanged on them. And that should be done the next day. That's the plot. Haman is not aware of this plot. And I believe he's somewhere asleep. Haman is asleep. He is the one who should be awake because his life is in danger, but he's asleep. But even if he were to be awake, there's nothing still he can do to save himself. So the plot is made. And here now I want to point the little things that God did to rescue not only Haman, but the people, the Jewish people. See, not being able to sleep is just an ordinary thing. Sometimes it happens to the best of us. For me, it's very easy. I'm not allowed to drink Coke at a particular time. If it gets to 6, the boss won't allow me to do that. An ordinary simple. This is what God uses awake. God uses the sleeplessness of a pagan king as part of his great plan for rescuing Mordecai. Second thing he does, because he cannot sleep, he commanded to bring the book of records of Chronicles. See, he's a king. He can do anything that he could ask for. He asked for the book of records. Including the things that happened, transactions that took place, payments made to associates of the king, allotment given to various persons connected to the royal household. There are very many things in the book of memorable deeds. So they read. And the third thing, they read from a section that contains the part of Mordecai. You can't tell me that this is not God working in here. They could have read from anywhere. There were very many events that have happened in the kingdom. But the unseen hand of God, they end up reading from the section that contains the part about Mordecai, intervening to save the king from the plot to kill him. And when that is read, the king remembers Mordecai, and he asks, what has been done to this man called Mordecai? Some believe it was a period from the time Mordecai saved the king to the time we're in chapter 6, some say it's a period between 4 to 5 years. Maybe more, maybe less. But it's a long time. What has been done to this man? And as customary of this king, if you've known anything about him, he always seeks advice. When Vashti rebelled, he sought advice from his counsel. And now, in the middle of the night, when they tell him nothing has been done, he says, is there anybody who can advise him? But he's also working, on the other hand, on Haman. How is God working on Haman? Haman also just wanted to be there very early in the morning. He could not wait to appear before the king. And so God makes him to wake up so early that he can be the first person to be present when the king is seeking for advice. And so they say, well, there is Haman. Haman is around. Haman was just there. Okay, let him come in. And Haman might be thinking, just the person I wanted to see. I have something to tell you. And how this question is asked. Haman is very presumptuous. And the king said unto him, what shall be done unto a man whom the king delighted to honor? Now Haman thought in his head, therefore he outlines the plan for the exaltation of the man, not with anyone else in mind other than himself. And this man who woke up very early in the morning to go see, and he went home hurrying back. Because what he thought was supposed to be his moment of exaltation, his worst nemesis is the one who gets to ride on the plan that he had planned for him. And as you read along in chapter 7, Haman ends up getting hanged on the same gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. See, if the king had not been kept from sleep, if the book had not been read, if the conspiracy within the book had not been referenced, then Mordecai would have been on his way to the gallows. If the king had asked the question differently, then Mordecai would have been a dead man. But God, in which the life of Mordecai is saved. God is working and he has a plan for you. And see, surely it was his unseen hand guiding us all along. God is working. Always working. See, at that particular time. But you get to look back later and see that surely was God working. And I call on you to reflect on what God has done in your life. Look back to things God has used, the little things that didn't look very important then, didn't look to be. And I took time to look at for my parents. And through their life, I was able to see an example of what it means to be a Christian. They were not trying to be examples, but just doing what they can do and what they thought was right. Paul Bryson and Terry Foster. These two men made a little trip, God and his leading, and came to Kenya and preached the gospel to me as an 11-year-old, and God was able to save me. To them it was just a normal trip, little trip that they are used to make many times, but it was different for me. I want to thank God for Ashley. Ashley, God, in a simple way, she didn't know. When she came to Kenya, she had no idea what God had in store. She made a trip, not thinking about what the future. And it is because of her that I was able to meet Alisa. And then was able to come here, and it's a long story, but God leading every single moment. At least I don't like this. But I want to thank God for my visa delays. For the 4 times that I didn't get the visa, the 4th longer, God was using that time to teach me to work on my patience. God allowed me, and I was able to see 11 of my friends get saved. It was possible to me to stay back there for that time. I want to thank God because God used that as a part of something that was not. If you can, for your parents, thank God for the job you have. Thank God for a great plan. When you're creating something big that you ever, God used. For which cause I also suffer these things. Nevertheless, I'm not ashamed. For I know whom I have believed, and I am persuaded that he is able. You will just believe on God, to him. Then I will have my way. Through the seen things, trust him on your Christian walk, on your family walk. Good. He is really good. Because I want to close with the words of a poem I got attached in me. The 4th child is the minister noticed that is this man writing? And so the words that he wrote down, my heart may throw mistakes, my cherished plan, but still I'll trust my Lord, that day will never break. I'll pin my faith, my all in him. He makes no mistake. There's so much but come what may, I'll simply trust and leave it all to him. For by and by mist will lift, and plain it all he'll make. Through all the way, though dark to me, he made not one mistake. And whether he seems not to be in charge to you, he is in charge. And you don't have to look for the major things, all the big events. You don't have to look for the mighty miracles to believe that he is working. I ask you to look at the little things. You breathe, you walk, you talk, you see, you have life. And in the words of one of the songs that I hear very often,